Okay, so now we're outside looking at the waterless composting toilet system. Now it comes with two chambers. The chamber that's connected here, that's the first one that's in use, let's say. The second chamber, in this case it's a brand new tiny, so the second chamber is not actually full, but it's over there in the sun just to show you what it would be or should be doing. What you do is, when this chamber here that's connected to the tiny house is full, you swap the lids. So you disconnect the vent pipe that's here, the number one pipe that's down the bottom there, the purple one, and you drag out the, you lift up the clips here, undo the clips of the lid, there's 4 of them, and you simply drag that chamber out. Now that's full, and then you swap the lid that's on the tiny house, you swap the lid that's on the chamber that's out in the sun. That comes in, that's empty, and you slide them in, and you rotate the two chambers as it's required. So when one chamber is full of waste, you know that at that time, because it'll be a few months later, that other chamber has finished its composting process. That can be then dug into the ground and disposed of that way, and then so that's empty, and then you swap them, and those two chambers go in rotation. If you live in a cold climate, it's possible that the time between filling those two chambers is not enough, it takes longer. Simply buy another chamber. They're very cheap just to buy the chamber itself, and so you might have 3 or even 4 chambers. Say in Tasmania you might go as much as 4, or Victoria, things like that. As far as New South Wales goes, depends where it is. Southern Highlands, you may choose 3 chambers. Canberra, maybe 3 as well. So you just have to gauge how much and how well it's composting between and how much you're using it, okay? So you swap the two chambers over. So the process is very simple. Like I said, you just unclip the lid, disconnect the vent pipe, the number one pipe, and you slide it out and swap the two chambers over. So that's on a constant rotation. Now this here is what I was talking about inside as far as the fan. So the fan is here, and if I won't say anything for a minute. So it is on, but you really can't even hear it. If I have my ear up to it, I can tell that it's working, and it's simply plugged in through this power lead, and underneath there's a power point. So once you get it to site, you hook it up that way. Now that there is the air is pulling the smelly air up through here and up through the vent pipe that's above the ceiling. You're best to install it about 600 millimeters above the gutter line. There's also a drainage pipe here at the bottom, so any water that comes down that vent pipe, it won't wreck the fan because it'll go into this T-junction. Just make sure that's got a little gets cleared out, or it's got a little hole in the bottom to drip it out. Okay, so that's your air. That's essentially what makes it not smell. Okay, that's something you have to install on site. Okay, the kit comes with all these pieces except for this long pipe. Okay, the long pipe is something you're gonna have to just drop into Bunnings and get, or a plumbing supplier that's close to you, because it's too hard to transport in the kit form. So you'd be paying way too much for the transport cost of a pipe. If we're sending it to, say, Cairns or WA, it's totally ridiculous to send that. So you're best off just buying this one component yourself. So just make sure you make note of that. Now, as far as the number, because it is waterless, and the number ones will come in, that drains out the bottom. Okay, that drains out this hose down the bottom, and we've connected it into a absorption trench. Now, in the manual, it'll come the size that it has to be, and your plumber will be able to know the size of the trench. Now, that's all dug underground, so we can't see that here, but essentially it's a cavity under the ground, and the water, the number ones drain into that and absorb through the soil and away, and it's totally fine. If you want to add extra composting to your household, you can actually connect this to a chamber, and if you mix it 10 parts water and 1 part with that waste, you have instant fertilizer for your garden. Non-edible plants is my recommendation. So that is the compost toilet system. It is quite simple. It's simply 2 chambers They're outside, so the waste is outside. When it's full, you just rotate the two chambers. It's got a number ones waste water that goes into absorption trench, and then you've got this air vent pipe. It's really not that hard to install, but like I said, I would recommend a plumber to do it. And that is a compost toilet. Hopefully that's answered a lot of your questions. It's a fabulous system. We highly recommend it. But if you are in the town, it is much easier to do a flushing toilet, but the choice is yours.